All right, in this video, I'm going to show you the top investable market in 2025 here going into the new year. This market is southeast of Columbus, Ohio. It is called Logan. So there is a state park here, famous state park called Hocking Hills State Park. And if you look at this map here really quick, we're going to zoom out here. You can see all the dots on the map, which, is pretty obvious. There's a bunch of properties there. But the thing that's really interesting is if you look at the main area, this Logan, you can see right here. We'll zoom in really quick so you can see that that's Logan. That's one of the area, Hocking Hills State Park right here. This is the main attraction in this area. And there is a massive theme park here going in Bremen. Bremen, Ohio is in this area as well. And basically it's a theme park. I think it's like $40, $50, $60 million. Going to be in somewhere around the middle of next year, 2025, and so a lot of people are buying here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you are in a market and doing some research on AirDNA, AirDNA is not the best tool for sure, but check this out, 99 investability score, market score, okay? So 100 in investability, 59 in rental demand, 93 in rev growth, 61 in seasonality, and 53 in regs. I will tell you from a regulation standpoint, this is actually like one of the most unregulated places. It's unregulated on the short-term rental side. It's unregulated on the long-term rental side. Mid-term rentals, they don't care about. Building permits are almost non-existent. Heavy construction presence without permitting. They don't do inspections on foundation. They don't do inspections on really anything except septic, which I have found out recently while trying to figure out how to develop a property on 50 acres that we have here. So anyways, let's jump into this and look at Logan as a whole. Annual revenue, $64,000, occupancy, 54%. ADR is looking at 360, and RevPAR, remember RevPAR is your ADR times occupancy divided by the 30 days is 195. You can see the seasonality, obviously summer, right? March break or spring break, I should say, all the way up to Labor Day is always going to be the peak, which you can see in and around here. But it's actually flatter than you think. Just December, January, February kind of gets smoked, or at least January, February. It's always the slow time of the year. And here's kind of the interesting thing, right? And within Logan, there's 6 submarkets. And really, these submarkets all kind of perform the same. This Nelsonville is not great. MacArthur's okay. We have 2 properties here in MacArthur. And then Logan as well. Logan is the best. The occupancies are still around 50-ish%. You'll see across the board here. 56, 53, 54, 43, 50, and 43. But the difference is, look at this ADR up here, right? So Logan as a submarket is actually quite good. So what we'll do is we'll jump into this submarket here so we can see exactly what this looks like. And again, we're staying back to the same data. Let's go take a look at the properties for sale, okay? And so on AirDNA, they have this thing called the yield, okay? The yield is basically like their version of cash on cash return. It's their revenue minus their expenses, their net operating income, and then basically they do the math back against the amount of down payment you'd make for a cash on cash return calculation. Here's a really interesting one, right? 1.5 million, sleeps 7. Now, why is this so good at $200,000 a year? $1,200 a night. It sleeps 14. It's 7 bed, 5 bath, 3,100 square. If we click on this particular property, you'll notice there's multiple different cabins on the same site, which is very, very interesting. This seems to be the new trend in these markets. Look at these A-frames here doing $200,000 a year. Beautiful design, really small, nothing fancy on the design work, the actual exterior design work. The interior is done really well. But it's nothing really special. Their pictures are also quite poor. And, for 149 photos of $1.5 million property doing $200,000 a year, I can't buy that personally. That doesn't make sense because $200,000 a year on 1.5 just doesn't, make perfect sense. But what you could do is you could model some of this information and see if you can get a good cap rate or good cash on cash return. So they have management fee here. Let's drop that to 18% just for fun. Lodging tax, property tax, that's fine. Cleaning fees here, they have it at 0 here. You're going to have some startup costs. I would say you're probably going to be like $15,000 no matter what here. It's dropping your cap rate. Purchase price, rental revenue. They're saying 157 in rental revenue, which is really interesting. Okay, let me show you why. It says 157 in rental revenue here, but if I close this, it says 205 for projected revenue. So there's some fluctuation that exists within the short-term rental space. And so when you're looking at any of these data points, you just got to remember that they are all estimates. You got to do some actual digging to figure out what the situation is for each property, right? You see this one, 1.6. It's near another property doing 158,000. This one's saying 208, but 158 here. This one's doing 161, right? So there's some different kind of properties. If you compare this 205 projected revenue to this, right? Kind of a big difference, right? And you also see this other, let me see if I can show you guys this. It's kind of cutting off on my screen here, but there's something called an LTM here. So it's available 305 days. So this particular property is only available for 305 days, which means 60 days a year, basically 2 months, it's not available. This property, on the other hand, is 356 days. So only like 10 days a year it's offline. That's important because when you calculate your average daily rate times your occupancy to get your revenue, that's going to have to subtract the days available because your occupancy is going to be of those days available. So if you have 60% occupancy and you're available, let's say you have 50% occupancy and you're available for 360 days a year, that means you have 180 days of marketability. Then they can calculate the average daily rate from there. What you notice on most of these Hocking Hills homes here, like this one's 273, this 365, most of these properties are going to be available for probably 90% of the time, most of the time, okay? Now, there is, obviously sometimes that's not the case, but a lot of them are going to be available because people are using this as a income generating asset. They're not using it as a personal asset. In other markets, that might not be the case. So what we can do here, we'll drop out of this property here. We'll look at some of these other properties for sale. And before we go super deep in this properties for sale and sorting it by newest, let's go look at what the market commands. So we'll go back to the Logan submarket. We'll go back out here again, and we'll just jump into this and let's just look at, we'll see if this lets us do it. Not sure what's going on here. Kind of lagging out. But for Logan, right, when we go into this and we look at market performance, I know there's submarkets here. You can see the percentage of rentals that exist based on the bedroom count, right? So 31% of the rentals are 1 bed, another 26 are 2 bed, another 20% are 3 bed, very few 4, and then 5+ is 11. But the interesting thing is the demand is probably for the 5 bedrooms. So let's go look at, some of the people that are doing really well. This, Book Hocking, right? 7,300 reviews, 4.8 stars, 153 listings. This is a local property management group. So one thing we could do is we could go take a look at this and we could go figure out what kind of properties do they have that are being successful. I would recommend, based on this information that we have right now, the average length of stay is 3 days, right? The booking lead time is 2 months in advance, meaning they book today for 60 days into the future. And if we look at some of the trends, the number of listings are going up nominally, but people are really looking for 5+ bedrooms. There's a ton of 1 beds, ton of 2 beds, ton of 3 beds, less 4 beds, less 5, and then 6+ is where it's like nobody has these. So the asset class to buy here, it really is a 6-bedroom property plus, right? Could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you look at where the revenue's at, January and February get absolutely smoked from spring break to Labor Day, right? All the way up, and then it kind of falls off. November's kind of crappy, December's kind of crappy, January, February just get absolutely smoked. That is a normal cyclical process for somebody who's buying a short-term rental. So if you want to find a good short-term rental, whether it's conventional or cash or creative, seller finance, seller carries, like whatever the strategy is, doesn't really matter. You need to have something. If you're going to buy something in Logan or Hocking Hills, you need to buy something that's 6-bedroom plus. You need to understand you are going to get absolutely annihilated in January or February, so you better keep a ton of cash on hand. And where you should be focused probably is buying something that's sub $1 million. Because if you look at the best deals, okay, we can go look at the 2,500 STRs here. The best deals are 8-bed. The ones that are making the most money have 8 bedrooms, okay? So this is what you want to build. If you want to do 354,000 a year or 390 or 450 or 414 or 300, whatever, you need to have 7 or 8 bedrooms. Look at this. Check this out. 8. This one down here has 5, but they have a pool indoors, which is driving that revenue up. I'll move myself over for a second. Come down further. This one, 331 revenue potential, okay? $2,000 a night, $1,500 a night, right? $1,700 a night, $2,000 a night. So the best properties are doing roughly $2,000 a night for these 3. This one has 1.5, which is kind of a unique one, but these are 2, 2, and 2 at about 50% occupancy, doing $300,000 to $400,000 a year. Phenomenal properties to get into if you can make this work, but you got to have the land to put this together. You can't just have a random house. It has to be a good property, okay? Now, when you go to buy these properties, okay, you need to go to Zillow probably, which I can pull up here really quick. and we will just go to Hocking Hills, I suppose, or Logan. Let's see if we can type in Logan, and let's just look at what's available so that you can see if this is actually possible, right? Logan, Ohio. We'll come in here. We're going to delete our, or maybe we won't delete this. We'll say, we're willing to go up to 1.5 million bucks, and our minimum price here, we don't want anything less than really 600,000. Let's see how many that gives us. So not a whole lot of options here. We could probably just scroll through it at this point. 2-bed, not going to work. 3-bed, not going to work. 4, not going to work. 5, this could work, right? This property here could work. 1.225 million. It's been 181 days on market, but this property, this Deerfield one, right? This is a good deal. So if you can figure out how to get this one done, this would probably smoke. This one here, 7 bedrooms, 51 days on Zillow. So like, to me, if you can pick this up or you can pick this up, it's going to be a great deal. So this is probably going to be marketed as a short-term rental. I'm assuming somebody wants to exit this. Let's see what they say, right? 181 days, got a pole barn, 2 car lifts, right? Doesn't short-term rental, right? Boom. So this property here, this would cash flow probably $2,000 a month, roughly. You'd have to put in the deal calculator, but at 1.225 million, if you can buy this on creative terms, not cash terms, this would be a property that would absolutely slap. The only thing is do they have the pool? And the answer is yes, they do have a pool. Beautiful parking lot, beautiful house on nice grass. A lot of grass to cut here, but that's in a very nice area, very secluded, trees taken down, everything perfect about this. Not super loving this thing around the pool. That's going to cause a ton of problems for keeping it clean, but it is what it is. You can even see all the leaves in the bottom of this pool here and the skimmer and all that. This is this is why you don't put all this crap right around your pool. But anyways, other than that, you come in here, you see the hot tub. Hot tub probably needs a refresh, but it's in great, looks like the whole under area here is quite clean. Look, again, lots of dirt in here. Propane, wouldn't recommend this. Would try to go all natural gas if you can, but propane is a little bit safer as sometimes because people, tend to leave the gas on. You got this pole barn, right? This is, I'm not sure why they have this. Obviously, someone's doing some auto body work as well. You could convert that into an existing living space as well. This would be a great property. It's a little outdated inside, but that's pretty much everything in MacArthur or Hocking Hills area. Logan. Overall, this is the kind of stuff that people want when they come to this area. So there's not really a whole lot of modifications. They get rid of these curtains. They look like crap. These couches look like crap. Probably $30,000, $40,000 in furniture. Put this whole deal together. Toilet's looking good. I'd probably, you got stainless steel here, and you have a black dishwasher. Doesn't really match. I'd probably try to update that. This is a little weird with the picture here. A lot of wood, right? So you wouldn't want to spend the time painting that. Drop ceiling. You just want to clean this up and make it look a little bit less old, right? Like this kind of window covering is not the best. This is a little bit strange too. But if you can put this together, this drop ceiling is a little weird as well. It's dated. It has some dated feel to it. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of property that will produce $200,000 to $300,000 a year and will be successful. You just have to be able to know what you're looking for. So I will leave you with this. If you want to get into the short-term rental space, your first step, look at a market, figure out what the demand is for by going under market performance and go look at what are people doing, what are the stays, how long are people staying, what are the amenities they have, what's the booking lead time, and then finally, let's look at the market share. How many people are in each market share? If the 6+ beds are the thing that people want, then you're going to see it here, okay? Now, the other thing, keep in mind, seasonality. You got to be comfortable with the seasonality here. This is something that can be kind of challenging for the wrong person. This kind of market, like, January, February, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have to bring cash. You're going to lose cash flow. You're probably going to lose $5,000 in January and February each. You got to be comfortable with that. You can see some of the future reservations, right? You can see how much the average place makes. You can see the trend lines, okay? You can see the last 12 months. You can also look at the last 3 years, and you'll see what this trend looks like. Up, down, up, down, up, down, but relatively stable, right? So this isn't just a COVID market, okay? This is going to be a phenomenal area to buy properties. Build properties, buy properties. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, there's probably something in the description below where you can get the help that you want. If you want help identifying, sourcing, closing these properties, this is a phenomenal area to buy real estate if you have cash on hand. You can't be a $0 down person. You can't have no money. You can't have all seller financing all the time. You're going to have some cash to be successful with these deals. But I'm telling you, this would be a phenomenal opportunity for you to get into a great performing asset that's going to cash flow, have great appreciation, give you good tax benefits. The mortgage is going to get paid down. You can deal with local banks and you can have a really, really good performing property with the data that you're looking for. If you have questions, drop it in the comments. And as usual, thanks so much for watching.